Is business coaching for me? Whether you're a seasoned artist or just starting out, this episode will give you a glimpse into the incredible possibilities that await when you combine your artistic talent with strategic guidance. Get ready to be inspired as we share the stories from Nina, Andrea, and Amy, talented artists and creatives who have participated in my coaching program, Live Now. Let's do this. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Open Studio. I'm your host, Martina Flor, and in this show, I share strategies and tactics to build a career as a lettering artist or illustrator. This is a special show because I don't have one, but three guests with me this time. Nina, Amy, and Andrea are artists and creatives that have built a career they love. In this episode, we dive deep into the success stories of the three of them, who are also alumni from my business group coaching program, Live Now, designed exclusively for lettering artists and illustrators. And if you're wondering what is in this episode for me, well, I believe that it can give you tons of clarity around how coaching and support can make a difference in your career and freelance business, and decide whether this is something you may benefit from as well. So with me are Nina Kieper, illustrator and infographics expert based in Germany and founder of Communicate; Amy Husil, an artist, designer, communicator, and writer, transplanted from Canada to sunny Southern California; and Andrea Cataro, a visual artist and designer based in Toronto, specializing in lettering and mural art. Enjoy this wonderful conversation with Nina, Amy, and Andrea, three talented and powerful women. Welcome to the podcast, Amy, Nina, Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me today on this conversation, and thank you so much for accepting to do a roundtable. I wanted to invite you to have a conversation to you specifically because you have been members of Live Now in previous editions, and I think your insights will be really important for those that are thinking of taking the program and they want to start this path of starting their own business or even scaling or growing the business that they have right now. And I am so happy to see you again. This feels a little bit like our coaching calls back then when we were going through the program. And I have a few questions that I prepared for you. But the first question is to briefly introduce yourself. I would love to know, I would love you to tell our listeners who you are, what you do, and yes, just open the mic for you to introduce yourself.
So my name is Amy Husel, and I live in Southern California now. I'm transplanted from Canada, so I'm a Canadian. And yeah. I'm a designer and an illustrator and just kind of all around creative person. Have always been just doing all of the artsy things ever since I can remember. And I mostly work out of my house. Sometimes I go into my clients' offices too, as just part of what I do. But I work from home, and I have a husband, and I have two doggies that I love that are like my coworkers during the daytime.
Amazing. Thank you for coming on today, Amy. Perhaps Andrea, you want to go next?
For sure. Hey everyone, I'm Andrea Rodriguez. I am a Colombian, Canadian, French designer, lettering artist, and muralist. I am based in Toronto, and I mix my Colombian upbringing into my art. And I'm a very colorful and very bold designer and lettering artist. I work from home as well. I do have a very interesting path, but also I work in winter. I am a graphic designer and a full-time freelancer only in graphic design. And then in summer, spring, summer, and early fall, I am a muralist. So right now I'm in my muralist phase. I have like mural projects and I have to deal with lots of clients. So yeah, I speak their languages and I speak them regularly. every day, and it's a very weird thing to have. Um, yeah, that's
I
me.
can relate. I can relate.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrea. And that is true. I see on social media that you are really active right now with your muralist, with your work as a muralist. So it makes a lot of sense, especially in places like where you live, that where there's such a contrast between seasons. Whereas in winter you need to stay indoors, whereas in summer you can go outdoors and do all the crazy stuff. Okay, great. So Nina, you go.
Hi, I'm Nina. I'm from Germany. I live with my husband, my two big boys right now, and the dog near Frankfurt. I'm self-employed for almost 18 years now, and 2 years ago I turned my business completely around from marketing to illustration with the help of you, Martina.
Yes, that is true. And it's so interesting because the three of you have, when you joined the program, I think you, Andrea, you were still working for a job, so you were kind of like building your freelance business as you were going through the program. Amy and Nina, you were you had been freelancing for years now, for decades now, and you were kind of, Nina, in your case, you were kind of trying to pivot careers in terms of the work you were doing. And Amy, you wanted to incorporate a bit more of creativity into your work, right? And to bring that artistic side of you into what you were doing, right? And what I wanted to ask you, and I mentioned this because you all, and this is typical from the program, that everyone who joins are in different moments of their journey, right? Some of the people who join, or artists who join, they are just starting, or they are trying to set up their freelance business. Some of them have been freelancing for a while and they want to change, or they want to pivot careers, or they want to change some of the aspects of what they are doing. But I want to go back to the moment where you decided to start a freelance business, and what were the things that call you to start a freelance business? Because I remember that as I started, as I launched my career as a lettering artist, I wanted some things in my life beyond doing, of course, the kind of work I wanted to do. I wanted to make a living as a lettering artist and to do creative work every day. But at the same time, I had a vision for my life. I wanted to have more autonomy. I had been working, before I launched my career as a lettering artist, I had been working in the corporate world and in agencies for many years. And I had like a day job for many years. And one of the goals of starting a freelance business for me was to have more autonomy, to be more in control of my calendar, and to have the flexibility to work from different places, because I knew that I had to travel back home at some point. I'm based in Berlin, and I knew that I had to have this flexibility to be able to go visit my family, or just to travel the world and be able to work from wherever I was. So beyond doing the kind of work I love doing, there were other goals that pushed me to create or to start a freelance business. And I wonder what were your or what called you to start your own freelance business back then?
I think for me, this is a little bit of a difficult question, because for me, it wasn't necessarily like, I think subconsciously, I always sort of like wanted to I wouldn't say have my own business. I would say freelance. I mean, I freelanced like ever since I got out of art school. Like it was just kind of something you always did because you're like the creative. So everybody's like, hey, can you like help me with this? Hey, can you design a logo? Blah, blah, blah. So it kind of happened very organically for me. But before I had come to the States, I was freelancing pretty exclusively, and I was not technically working full time, but I definitely was not in a place where I would even consider myself having like stable income. And I was very young, so I was like really green, and I was growing, and I was kind of getting all of my stripes and getting my thick skin and all those kinds of things. And then when I had moved down to the States, I had worked first in corporate and then for a nonprofit, and I really enjoyed the nonprofit work. And as a designer and a senior designer, I'm primarily graphic design as well. And just got to the point, I think I could say, are we still calling it like the Great Resignation? I feel like I'm part of that. After the pandemic, I just kind of realized, I was like, you know what, there are some things in life that are really important. And if I'm serving someone else's dream, I'm not necessarily living for my own. And I realized that that was important to me, you know, because we don't know how long we have. And so in 2021, I took my sort of like my official leap, and I had been doing freelancing like on the side my whole entire time I was employed. But when I actually decided, I was like, okay, like I need to be able to like make X amount of dollars and be able to, you know, pay my bills and contribute to the house. Like, what am I going to have to do to be able to do that? And like, I'm a creative person. Like, business is just like, it felt so over my head. And so that was like that was like a large learning curve. And I had a couple really good friends that kind of, you know, pointed me in the right direction. And I found the LEAP course, of course. And so I think that, I guess sort of the long answer to that would be like a combination of like life circumstance, pandemic, like wanting more. It kind of was like the thing where you kind of got to that boiling point where you're like, okay, or like that point of tension where you're just like, yes, like now is the time to move. And I think that when I left in 2021, I was just like, yes, like this timing feels right for me right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love what you said about like, serving someone else's dream. I think something really powerful about building a freelance business is to serve your own dream and your own project, to build your own project. And I think that's something really powerful about starting this path, right? And also really challenging, because you first need to define what that project is and how that, you know, how that dream looks like, right?
Totally.
I think that for me, it starts way before that. I was a graphic designer for a very long time here in Toronto, and I went and did a master's degree in art direction because I thought I bought into the dream that I needed to climb this ladder into this like corporate agency world. And I was really grinding and I was giving it my best, but I never felt in the right place. It was always something. It was always, I hate the people I'm working with, or the projects aren't challenging enough, or, you know, it was always something. So I decided to go do this master's degree and figure it out over there. And it really served a purpose. And it was that it made me realize that I never wanted to work in an agency, that dream that I had been sold, that I bought into, was not my dream. It was not what I wanted. So when I came back, that was in Paris. I came back from Paris and I started working for the city of Toronto, which was amazing because I was serving the public and it gave me purpose. I was like, oh, awesome. And then I painted a mural in 2019. It was my first mural. The Amazon rainforest was burning. And as soon as I touched that brush, I remember it. I put that brush into that box and I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. And it was just like a pivoting moment for me because I realized that I just wanted to do that forever. And I decided to start planning, and I had taken entrepreneurship classes and I had taken business classes, but they were never targeted towards artists. So I was having a hard time applying the principles of business into design, art. You know, it's not the same. I don't have that mentality of always be selling, always be pushing for my products. So I started saving, and in 2019, I just like decided, okay, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to be independent. How, I don't know, but I need to figure it out. So I'm going to have to put money aside to see how I do. And I've been a fan of Martina forever. So I saw she had a class, and before I kind of took the leap per se, I asked people that had taken the class before, and I went around and I hugged them down, very creepy. I like creeped into their DMs being like, hey, can you tell me about this? And just like decided that that was the right thing for me. Because again, I see Martina and I see, okay, so she's also like South American, she's also immigrant, and because there are certain things that come with being an immigrant in another country that people don't always account for. It's always harder. And so I was like, okay, this is it. And that really gave me, let's say, the courage to go ahead and decide on this dream and go and fully pursue it.
Thank you, Andrea. And what about you, Nina? What were the things that call you to start a freelance business in the first place? Because I know that when you started working as a self-employed, you actually started working in marketing, which is different from what you're doing now.
Yeah. My first start into freelancing just more or less happened. I was working in a law firm, and through talking to other marketing managers of other firms, I just saw my possibility to go into freelancing, and it really just happened more or less. And I afterwards saw what possibilities I have through freelancing, like working so flexible, having a family, being there for my kids, and working all together. I just didn't think about all that. I just saw my possibilities and just jump into it, and it was one of the best things I ever did in my life to do it.
Yeah, I always say that it's a one-way road, right? It's really hard to go back. Sometimes I think like, I couldn't imagine going back to life in the corporate world where I used to work. Well, I mean, over 15 years ago, but still, like I always think that once you discover the joy of building a career for yourself and a project that is yours, with all its challenges and with all its ups and downs and everything, but it's just so rewarding. So I wanted to move to move on to speaking a little bit about the program, and perhaps highlighting some of the things that you feel or each one of you felt that had a big impact in your business and life. And it could be anything. It could be some of the trainings that you went through. It could be, I don't know, the retreat that is inside the program. It could be some of the coaching calls or the community platform. Any of the elements that you feel that from the program that made a difference for you in your business and life. What would be one or two things that you would name?
I would say, I mean, there was just so many things. When you had sent out the questions, I sat down because I like to be really prepared. And I was like, okay, I'm going to write, because I get really nervous. So I was like, oh, I'm going to screw up. But I started writing, and I was like, I feel like I could write about every single facet of what we went through, because there were parts of it there were parts of the online stuff that was super valuable, especially being a person who does not have the business training or mindset. There's so much practical information in the meat of the course. That was super valuable. I mean, the retreat was just next level. That was probably, I think if I had to narrow it down to two things, and it's so interesting because you know how sometimes you don't really know what you need. You think that you kind of know what you're looking for, but you don't realize what you really need. And I think coming through the course for me, I realized that there was a part of me that wasn't buying into what I have inside of me to give to the world, as a creative person and artist. I believe that I have something to give. I believe that everybody has something to give. But, when you work in this environment, it's really easy to hold yourself up to other people and, and be comparing all of your work and comparing all the things. And, you're competing for jobs, and it can be very, it can be kind of a little bit of an abrasive environment. And I think coming into the course, not only, I mean, the community too in itself is just amazing. Like I miss all of the people that were in my class so much, and we try to stay in touch, but it's like, it's just hard because we all have life, we all have our jobs. But yeah, the community was just amazing. But yeah, I didn't realize how much taking the course would like, sounds cheesy, but like help me believe in my talent and my skill as an artist, because you're just surrounded in this community that is so supportive, and they're all going through the same stuff, and they all have the same questions and the same insecurities. And that was like a huge thing for me. Like I still think about that, and I like go back to my journal notes, and I think, I don't know if it was the retreat, but we did this one exercise because it was so valuable too, how what was offered in the live courses was so different than what you have like on the screen in front of you to take. And that was just, I mean, like amazing. But we did this exercise where I think we had to like write something and the person had to like read it back to you.
Yeah.
I mean, like me and the person I was doing, we were just like bawling because when you have that kind of affirmation like read back to you, it's just, I mean, it's like, it gets into your soul. You're just like, holy moly. Yeah. That was really beautiful.
That's so amazing. And just to give a little bit of context for those that are listening and watching this roundtable, is that there's inside the program, there's of course a course or a digital course that you can go through with different trainings on different aspects of a creative business. There's also the coaching calls. There's the retreat, which is what you were talking about, Amy, right now. And there's also the community platform, which is this place where we all come together and we ask questions, and we give each other support, right? And I say we because I'm there, the students or the members are there. And I think what is great about that platform is that what you were just saying, Amy, that is like, oftentimes you need to have someone mirrored back to you what your capabilities are and what you're great at. And I think that what the community platform makes, or what the community does for you in that specific part of the program, is that it reflects back to you things that you don't know about yourself. And it tells you like, hey, you have this skill. Did you know that? And you look at this and look at that. You have that capability, right? Which oftentimes we oversee because we are just too much inside ourselves, Yes. Exciting news. My business group coaching program, Leap Now, is now open for enrollment. With Leap Now, you will receive the expert guidance, valuable resources, and a supportive community of fellow artists that you need to take your freelance business to new heights. But hurry, enrollment closes on Monday, June 26th. Take the leap and elevate your creative business. Visit maketheleapnow.com to find out more and join us on this transformative journey. Your dreams are within reach with Leap Now. Head to maketheleapnow.com and join us. Now, back to the show. So I love that you mentioned that, Amy. And what about you, Andrea?
It was very difficult to narrow it down. I think that, just as Amy said, there are many things that help you throughout the program. For me, I think the most important thing is the community. We still get together once a month, and we talk about our wins. It's the same format, and so I think that's essential, the community, because freelancing is a very like a solo activity where you're by yourself, and you could get into your head and have all these doubts about who you are as a human being. And it's difficult sometimes to go through that. So having a community that understands what you're going through, but that also advise you, like it gives you advice on things that you're having doubts. I went and pulled these because I still have this on my desk. I printed the things. I printed all the workbooks, like a nerd that I am, and I have notes on it. And sometimes I refer to them. Sometimes I have a client that I don't know how to reply to, and I have all these like notes on how to do it. Even though I know it, I just want to make sure that this is the format that this is what I want to say. And so I refer to it constantly, and I have it as It's beside my great books here in my desk, but it's like
Wow.
right there. Um, and also I think that essential for me was the fact that Martina is there, and you have a coach that went through everything you've gone through. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I cannot say names, but I've been in other places, in other coaches, in other environments where people that are coaching you haven't been on your shoes. So it's very
Mm-hmm.
difficult for them to relate to what you're feeling or how you're seeing what's happening around you. I find that when you ask a question in the group and you're there and you can be like, oh, this happened to me. Obviously, I don't have all the answers, but this is how I did it. This is how you can do it. It offers a perspective into your future. So you're like, oh, yeah, I can project myself into that person. So yeah, I think that was essential for me. And again, I still refer to all the notes because it helps. Sometimes you need a little extra to help you. So yeah.
I love that because I love that you highlighted the workbook, because there's also a workbook. You're mentioning different parts of the program, which for those that are listening or watching, you can already see how many different moving parts the program has and how many touch points. But on top of the course and the community platform, there is the workbook, of course, which allows you to put your ideas down to actions and kind of go through every little aspect of your business. And then there's the coaching calls that you, Andrea, were mentioning, where we get together. I would say that these are the spaces where we get together and we sit down to work, right? And oftentimes it's a lot about finding your own answers. I think that as a coach, I try to motivate you to find your own answers, because you are building your own business, and the business should be built around you and what you want and your goals. And it's no good if I come and tell you like, okay, do this because this is good for you. And oftentimes it's more about finding your own answers, because I also realize that when you find your own answers, you put that into action, as opposed to someone telling you, do this. You will be like, oh yes, I should do that, but I won't do it, because I'm not really convinced about it. So finding your own answers is oftentimes the key to actually get it done. And I love that you brought that up. First, the workbook, where you actually do the work yourself, where you're putting in the information yourself and filling in the gaps yourself. And also the coaching calls, where, it's this place where you get the work done, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Nina? What were the highlights of the program for you, or what had the most impact in your business and life?
Yeah. First, I have to say, Andrea, she is in my community. I love her. The feeling that you're not alone with your ideas and also fears, this is incredible, really incredible.
I just wanted to highlight that it's not like they are leaving Amy out. It's
No.
just that they belong to different years of the program. Because it's just they took part of the program in different years, and that they belong to different kind of cohorts, right?
Yeah, exactly. And what also was very important to me, I would say there are 2 points. I really I had not the confidence to go out and tell the world I'm an illustrator now. I was working for more than 20 years in marketing. I knew that I can do it. I had the tools. I had everything, but just because I didn't have a design degree, I was scared to tell the world I can do that. I am that. And you gave me the confidence. The program gave me the confidence. And I'm still, bit of shaking when I think about that.
It's amazing.
And another thing, which is very important also for my self-confidence, through the program, I really charge differently for my work. And this is a very important point when I'm thinking back, because it's really, it's also a thing of self-belief and how to go out to the world and tell them and what you earn for it, for your good work.
That's so great. I love hearing this, Nina, because I think it's one of the things that most of artists and creatives out there struggle with, pricing their work, standing up for their fees. And I think that what you mentioned in the beginning, the fact that through the program you built this confidence, I think that's key for standing up for really charging the fees that you have right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love that. And tell me a little bit about what has happened since you went through the program. What I think, Amy, you joined 2021, right? No, 2022, right? You were in 2022 program. Andrea and Nina, you were in 2021.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what has happened since then.
Well, I've been working a lot, which is good. Part of my problem, not complaining. But actually, one of the things that was really valuable, also about taking like the course with you was like listening to how you deal, like how you came to like reconcile like having a balanced life, because I was like super unbalanced, and like full confession, still like really struggle with that. Because I'm just like people pleaser by nature. But I will never forget that you said this one thing during one of our coaching calls, and you said, you were like, the first thing that I do when I get up in the morning is I do something that's going to move my business forward. But it was like your business for you. You don't open your email, you don't like look at a client thing, and that has like stuck with me. And so I've been trying to practice.
I remember that exact moment.
Yeah.
Actually.
Totally.
Yeah.
That was like a so I try to kind of structure my day around thinking, okay, like what's the one thing in the morning that I can do that is like moving my business forward, because that was a real struggle for me. And it still is. But yeah, I've been working a lot. I second, Nina, what you said about charging. Also still struggling with that, but really, going through the pricing, like that whole, like how you have that pricing calculator and kind of figuring out, like what is it that I can reasonably charge for things? Cause also, that's like, it's all a work in progress. Like there's no perfection. It's all, just trying to kind of get better day by day. And I feel like now I definitely have like all of the tools in my toolbox for it. I was not necessarily like pursuing a lot of my art before the class, but since the class and like afterwards, I've been like just creating a lot more like analog style. Like I've been like painting and drawing and just like doing, yes, exactly, Andrea, like just like doing things with my hands, like not just so tied to the computer screen. And I actually ended up, I'm very excited, I am going to be having my very first art exhibit at one of our libraries here coming up in the fall. And I mean, that's been in the works for a long time, but it's been kind of the process of like curating and kind of creating for that has really been so therapeutic for my soul. So I feel like I have a lot more balance since the course also in my life in that way. Like it's not just like in the grind, looking at the screen, just like, for clients, but it's like really creating for myself and filling my soul back up again, because that's so important for any artist.
I love that, Amy. I'm so happy that you are going through that right now. And what about you, Andrea?
First of all, congratulations, Amy, on your exhibit. I know the feeling. I've also been doing that. So yeah, it's awesome. So for me, the first year was, so I launched, let's say, I think it was January 2022 that I went all in. And it was a year of a lot of learning, because yes, you go through the program, but there is constant learning. So you have to be very comfortable with being uncomfortable. The first year I worked a lot, and I had these moments of doubt, but I also had moments of self-reflection, being like, oh, I'm doing great. I'm choosing the clients that I want, which I find is a big advantage. Working with people I like, which is awesome. But I also have, let's say, gained the confidence. I was very before going into the program, I was very, if it's not perfect, it won't go on my Instagram. And I had this very narrow-minded, like it was very strict. I was art directing myself. I'm a victim of my education. And so after that, I took a year of a lot of working and a lot of like feeling a little uneasy, but by going forward always. And so this year, I'm happy to say that I'm a little more settled into my ways. I'm working for great murals. Even I'm coordinating murals now, which is very funny.
Wow.
I'm on the other side now because I applied the skills to managing murals and people like that. And I'm also exhibiting. And this year I'm going to be participating in the Toronto Outdoor Art Fair. And it's the biggest art fair in Toronto, in Canada.
Wow.
And like for me, it's just amazing. I applied last year and I didn't get in. And this year I'm going in with a full scholarship. So for me, it's just, reassuring to see that the work I'm putting in is somehow, coming back to me in great ways. I kind of stick to my style. And again, through the program, I learned that I shouldn't like try to do everything and please everyone, but I have a particular style. I have that and I need to stick to it because I love it. I love doing the rainforest and doing letters and orchids and all of that. That's my thing. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I have had a few exhibits in the past. I'm looking forward to this exhibit. I'm also participating in markets here in Toronto. So I'm selling like my plants, I made stickers, and these are things that, I thought I couldn't do before. Because I thought you had to grind and that was it. These are just for fun things, which I find give a lot of freedom and color to my life. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So good. Andrea, what about you, Nina?
Yeah, I have completely switched to illustration and infographics. And yeah, especially the infographic topic is a big field of my business right now. I work for companies and support them with their communication, internal, external communication, especially the ESG, so the obligations, what companies have to do in the environmental field. Is a big topic right now, and it's really I'm happy. It's really
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really great because I can live my both sides. I can do my drawing, my illustrations, and also I can do a lot of storytelling with these illustrations. So it's really I love it.
And it's so it's so great to see you talk about the three of you talk about your business and your project in such an inspired way. You know in which direction you're going. You are standing for what you want to do. You, Andrea, you were saying like, well, this is my style and I want to do this kind of work. And I'm putting all my focus into that. And it's in a way it's flourishing because you have also taken a certain direction and you have made a decision, which oftentimes is what we are most afraid of doing, Nina, in your case as well, making that decision of like, I'm going to pivot and I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to focus all my efforts into this new direction. And once you do that, which is the hardest step, making that decision is what we are all kind of doubting and we are ruminating about. But when you do that and you put your focus and you work towards that, this is where results start to show, right? So lastly, I wanted to ask you, what would you say to someone considering joining the program? And I think your words are so valuable because, I trust the program 1,000%, but I think that the students or the members that went through it are the best witnesses of what the program is and how it can transform your business and your life in a lot of ways. So I'm just opening the mic for you to to talk to those that are thinking, hey, shall I join the program? Shall I not join the program? And tell them what, what should they do? Not what should they do, but what advice would you give them?
Mm-hmm. I would just say, just do it. But I think the longer answer to that question was, I had been following probably everybody, Martina, and your work for years. I saw you speak at an Adobe conference, I don't know even what year it was. And so I had just been such a long admirer of your work. And when I saw that you had offered a class, it was, did you offer it before COVID, before 2020?
Oh, yes, but it was a much smaller cohort. So it was,
okay.
Yes.
Because I had seen, and I remember seeing it, but at the time, I was working full time, and it just was my season was different and everything. And I was just that would be so cool. And I kind of put it over here. And then when it came around again, and I had already kind of, I had quit my job, and I was just kind of oh gosh, what am I doing? And I saw it come up again. And I was it's an investment, but it's an investment in yourself. And that was the biggest thing. I'm spending this money, I can spend this money now because I have a business, so I have to write it off, which is another great thing about being in business for yourself.
Yes.
Is kind of all of the financial, you can spend money, and you're worth it. You are so worth it. Your work is worth it. Your well-being is worth it. Doing something that you love is completely worth it. And if this is something that becomes a tool to enable you to feel the confidence and the connection with your peers, and just be it literally has become a stepping stone in my business and my life, was this course. And that's invaluable. It's invaluable. So if you really are very serious about, and even somebody like me, I had already started my business, and there's a lot of the course that goes into all of the nuts and bolts about starting, which is awesome, because some of those things I had not taken care of, and I was oh, I should probably do that. But yeah, it became such a foundational part of what my business journey has been. And I would be completely different trajectory, I think, if I had not taken the course. So it was just, it's I think it's one of the best things that you can do.
I love it, Amy. Thank you so much. Just before I give the mic to Andrea and Nina, I just want to tell you that I'm not trying to attribute any of what you have accomplished to the program, because, as I say, I always say that the program, of course, provides you with tools and frameworks and with the space to do the work, and with the support, and of course my guidance and all of that. But the course or the program is co-created, so you need to put, or those that join the program need to put in the work, right? If you don't do the work, no one will do it for you. No, Live Now won't do it for you. No one will do it for you, right? So I'm not trying to attribute any of what you have accomplished to the program, but I just want to know really what's the experience, or what you have experienced through the program, and how the program has been a catalyst for all you have accomplished, right? I just wanted to clarify that, so that it doesn't seem because you joined Live Now, then you're now able to build the business of your dreams. But I see Live Now as a catalyst of and a place where you do the work, right?
Yeah. And it's such an interactive experience. It really is. You're just 100% on the money, and I had taken I had enrolled in another course, which shall remain nameless. Yeah, totally. And just the difference, it's polar opposites almost. I was just man, I don't know. I was trying to work the other one too, because I'm one of those people. I'm okay, I'm going to be all in, try. But yeah, there's just something very different about, working through stuff with this community of people who's really engaged in the same industry, same kind of mindset. And you had mentioned this earlier too, but you talked about how you were I like to kind of like people would ask a question and you would be like, okay, well, like, what do you think the answer would be? You know, and we're kind of in the beginning, you're sitting there and you're like, please tell us all the things that you know, you know, but it's not like that. It's like, as like the hive mentality becomes such a beautiful aspect of what that course is, you know.
I love it. Yes. Yes.
I agree. I totally agree. I think that you have to do your work.
What about you, Andrea? What would you say to someone considering joining the program?
Okay, so I love that you said that you have to do the work, because that was one of my points. You can't expect to buy something and have a magic formula. It has to come from within you. You have to understand that there are steps that you have to go through. And I love how before going into a program, I guess I had the tendency of comparing myself to people that were here, and I was like high up in their careers, and I was at the bottom, or I was in the middle of my career. So it's impossible to compare yourself to. It's like if you want to start running and you're comparing yourself to Usain Bolt, like, why would you do that to yourself? Like, there is no reason to do that. And I think that if you want to join this program, you have to come with a mentality that is going to be a lot of learning. It's going to be a lot of learning about yourself as a person and your business. It's not only about the business, it's also about you, what you are as an artist, as a designer, as a human being. And then super important for me is to come with an open mind and not have like a very set, this is what I want kind of mentality, and just be open to all the possibilities. That's what I want to say. I also went through other programs that are child remain nameless too. And I also I'm a good student. I swear to you, I am a very good student. If you put a book in front of me, I'll read it, I highlight it. I'm all about that. It wasn't up to the level, let's say. And I think that the community, Martinez, the workbook, everything add up to a very worth your money program. That's what I want to say. It's you're investing into your future. You're investing in a foundation. You can't build a building without digging the hole first. You have to go through that. So this is your opportunity to just jump, go in it, build this building from the bottom up, and, you know, see the beauty that can come out of it. So yeah, join.
I love it, Andrea. Thank you. What about you, Nina?
Yeah, when I was pivoting my business, it's really like I had the feeling that I'm not burning for my job anymore. It wasn't the same. I really had the feeling I had to change something before I'm getting bad in my job. I don't know if this is, and now I have that back. I'm working on something that I really love, and I'm really happy about it. And I think this is also something for your client. You are better in your job when you really love it, and the client gets a better work. But also, so for me, you spend so much time in your life working. So I think it's really important that you love that job, and that you have a job which is good for you, but because it's also good for your health, and for your mindset, for everything. And so I would just say, go for it. You made so many things possible for me. I would have never done that step without you, and I'm forever thankful for that. That's all I can say.
Oh, Nina, and I want to say again that it was all yours, you know, and you went through the program, you did the work, you took the challenges, you overcome them, and all the work is done by you and those that take part in the program. But what I love about this conversation that we have had is that you have pictured the program in a way from someone who has gone through it. You know, oftentimes is very hard to picture for someone that is outside how a program of this kind is like, because I haven't seen things like this out there. And I think that what you have the things that the experiences that you have described today and the parts that you have highlighted throughout the conversation are a great way of picturing how it feels to go through the program, and also what are the results that you can expect from this kind of experience, right? But yeah, then it's left just to experience it. I feel that, everyone experiences it in the different way. And I think that you are a great example of those members that really engaged into the experience and really put in the work, and you can see the results because of that, right? And I really appreciate yes, and I have to say that also my experience with this program is that, or what I love about this program is that the people who join, they are really into, like, they put in the work, and that also makes a lot of the experience that when you join the community platform, they're all there pushing in the same direction. They're all supporting one another. And I think that makes a huge difference, that this is a small, intimate cohort where everyone feels safe and everyone is invested into the program, right? Because they want to make it happen, and they want to make it worthwhile. And it ends up being worthwhile because of that. So yes, I appreciate you, and I appreciate that you invested yourself into going through that transformation with Live Now. And I think that those that are listening and watching this roundtable will be, after this conversation, will have a clear idea of what the program is like, and what they can expect, right?
Yeah, I think that if they wanna, usually I get people messaging me about the program. I have gotten people, like, I creeped out on someone has creeped out on me and asked me about the question. I'm always open to discuss it in, more in detail if you need it, if you want to reach out and be like, and you have specific questions that we haven't covered here. That's something I do. Always talking about, I'm very open about my experiences. I'm very open about my knowledge. So yeah, reach out.
I love it. I love it. And I was about to ask you, where can people find you, so that if you want to reach out directly to Amy or Andrea or Nina, you can do so. And you can find them also on social media and on the internet. So Amy, where can people find you?
Yeah, so my company is called Inspired Creativity. And so I am online. My website, inspiredcreativity.net. And I'm on the socials. So Facebook, Instagram is mostly where I hang out. And that also is Inspired Creativity Design. So I would love to hear from people if they would like.
I love it. I'm going to add all of this to the show notes so that everyone can find you. What about you,
because
Andrea?
mine is Andrea Cataro, and that comes from Andrea Catalina Rodriguez, which is my name. So the short form is Andrea Cataro, and I am on Instagram. I have a website. I'm on TikTok. I'm trying to hang out there, but I don't know if that's working for me.
I'm on TikTok too, and I feel the same.
I mean, I go there and check out what the cool kids are doing these days. But I'm an old lady. I like my Instagram, and that's it. I like my Instagram. So yeah, you can reach out there. I'm always open to, answer emails. You can email me through Instagram, or everything Andrea Cataro I own. So yeah, go check me out.
What about you, Nina? Where can people find you?
Yeah, the most I'm the most active on LinkedIn, for example. There you can find me under Nina Kipper, and also Instagram. I have 2 channels there. More artsy, which is more myself and doing some artsy stuff. I love to do, which is Nina Kipper, and I don't know, I think it's a long stroke. I don't know the English word for that. Nina Kipper,
the
and
underscore.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and the other channel is Communicate, which is my infographic channel.
Yes, I'm gonna add all of this to the show notes so that people can find you. Again, Nina, Amy, Andrea, your voice and opinion is super valuable, and I think especially for those that are thinking of taking the program, it was also great to hear again and to see you again after with some of you some years that we haven't connected. Well, actually we are connected. We are always sending us messages here and there, but we haven't been in a coaching call or in a call like this one for a while. But it's been great to know where you're at with your business and your lives, and hearing again the transformation that you have experienced throughout the program is such a reward for me, and I'm really grateful for all the things that you have shared today. So thank you again for joining this roundtable. If you want to say anything else, I'm just opening the mic for all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm always like super grateful, Martina, because you know, your program and your support. And I know it's very silly, but sometimes I go on Instagram and I see you like my photo and I'm like, oh my God, Martina liked my photo. It's just, you know, it's just another way to support each other. I find that there was a lot of keeping the knowledge when I went into this program. Like I thought you had to never share and be like, this is mine. And because of you, I'm always like opening about what I do, how I do it. I think that, you know, the more we know about each other, the better. And so, thank you. I really do. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you for coming on today to the roundtable. Thank you to all of those listening and watching this roundtable. Some of you will be listening to this on the podcast. Some of you will be watching this on YouTube. So thank you so much. And I hope these experiences from our members will help you make an informed decision whether you join the program or not. I will be waiting for you inside. So thank you again, Andrea and Amy and Ina, for joining today.
Right.
And see you on the next episode of Open Studio for those listening on the podcast. Bye-bye. So this is it. I hope you loved this episode. You can find me, the host of the show, on social networks at Martina Flor on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you have a question or comments, go to martinaflor.com/podcast, where you can see previous episodes, find show notes, and send voice memos with your comments and questions. You can also watch these episodes on YouTube. Just go to martinaflor.com/YouTube to find them. You can, of course, listen to all our episodes on your favorite podcast platform. If you loved this episode, subscribe to this podcast. And if you leave us a review, it will help others find us. Thank you all for listening, and see you in the next episode of Martina Flor's Open Studio. Bye-bye.